Hi, my name is Artem. I am CTO and co-founder of GoChatBot. Our company specializes in automating communications, and in today's video I would like to show you how I created API integration with the help of low code and AI, with the help of ChatGPT. And I also would like to show you my perspective on what is happening in the field of software development with the rise of popularity of large language models and with the popularity and creation of low-code platforms, what's become possible. What we do in our day-to-day work, these services that we provide to our clients, what we basically develop chatbots. We're a software development company, but it's a different company from companies that was created in 90s when the technologies were just, computer was just created, internet was just created. Software development was mostly about, in the business field, was mostly about creating very good databases, good CRM system, ERP system, so you can organize information better and you have projects, transactions, statuses, and around the relational database you organize the work of a large amount of people. That's what informational technology was aimed at in the early 90s. Fast forward today, what we see is we developers now have created so much of infrastructure, so many libraries, so many tools, so many software. Like we've seen generations of softwares like Windows. We've seen transformation from MS-DOS to Windows 3.1, 95, XP. Now we're using mobile devices with the Androids or iPhones. So the technology has progressed a lot, and today what developers are capable of doing, developers are capable of writing the code of marketing, writing the code of sales, code of support. That's what essentially what chatbots are. And also on top of that, we have explosion of popularity and very huge progress in large language models, which are essentially, besides their power in AI, in their decision-making, analysis and all that, there's a huge opportunities are there. But besides that, large language models provided us, the humanity and software developers, with ability to build conversational interfaces with computers, with systems, with businesses, right? So back in the days, we had a keyboard, we had a mouse, we had a database, and we have graphical interface, GUI. Nowadays, computers able to talk to us just like humans. The human-to-human interface that we learn from very, very early age, when we learn in the school ABC, that's the interface. That's a human-to-human interface, the language, right? And now, thanks to generations that put so much data over the internet, we put their like vast amount of data. Now we were able to train databases talk to us and kind of think, right? Well, predict what we're gonna say next and so on. This is how large language models work. They predict what's the next thing supposed to be replied. When you put some input, you get the output. So it turns out this is a great tool to build the conversational interfaces, right? So anyways, what are our companies doing? We basically take all the systems, all the processes, all the human interactions in the company that together form what called customer experience, right? We got like like well, the company consists of a lot of processes, a lot of people working together towards certain goal, towards certain mission, right? And provides company output is good product, good services. So all of those processes, all that complexity is hidden from the customers, right? That calls to analyze all that complexity. There is a framework called service blueprint, right? And right, so you can perceive the company as an iceberg, and under the water you have a lot of complexities, right? And the bigger the company, the more complex it is, with all the departments, with all the technologies, with all the security, with all the people, with all the leaders, with all processes gluing all together, with all the software, with all the integrations with external world, with all the cloud systems, so on and so on, so on. That's the complexity of any corporation, any business, any government. It's a very complex system. And on top of that, you have a customer experience where customers, through which customers interact with the company, right? So what we do, we take all the customer experience stuff, and we kind of wrap it inside of chatbot. We turn all that separate systems and processes, and we kind of package it up into the streamlined conversational experience. We make it like one touch point for the customers on their smartphones through messengers or social networks, or it could be chat on a website, right? And into that conversational experience, that present with the customer, that's sticky to the customer, that available on their personal computers, in their pockets, right? We provide access to the company and all that complexities in one spot throughout the most simplest, most intuitive way for people to interact through conversation. So as an end result, customers get much better customer service, much easier. They don't need to study lots of systems, loyalty program application, download it, marketplace, e-commerce website, whatever. There's so many processes. Or give us a call, or send us email. Like, there's so many ways to interact with the company, and us as a consumers, us as end users, we have to kind of learn every interface the company builds. Some of them are great, some of them are wacky, right? So it still takes time. When we want to handle our business, and we have to go through all these loops just to get information or something done, what we expect company to do for us. So the conversation is more simple form, in a place where we talk to our friends, our families, our colleagues, in the messenger, right? In our personal messages, in our private conversations. This is where we take the business and we bring it there to those personal conversations, right into the contact book. So the brand is represented as a stream of consciousness or unconsciousness, stream of conversations, that one-on-one, the never-ending conversations, right? And for customers, it's very easy and simple because they can pick up the phone and they can text a message and get what they need. And the same thing for the business. Business can text back at any time. And so when customer texts, our bot knows who the customer is. Our bot knows the history of conversations before that. The customer knows where the customer at in the customer journey process, right? Because when you just meet the customer, you have to introduce yourself. You have to start building relationship. You have to tell about company, about services, about how we can serve you better. You have to find out what customer is looking for. You have to use empathy. You have to build a rapport, right? And at later moment, when all marketing stage is done, when we get into the sales, right? And there's another conversation. You need to show the menu. You need to show options. You need to take an order. You need to take a payment. That's another conversation. And then when transaction is done, you have to provide the service, you have to provide the support, maybe there is a loyalty program, maybe there's a way to get repetitive purchases and so on. So the whole human civilization is the whole world spins because of communications, right? And basically our bot knows where the customer is at every point of customer journey, and when customer texts us, we provide exactly what customer needs without having customer jump through the hoops through different systems and apps and everything. So basically our AI agents, they basically replace all the mobile apps, all the websites, because they provide much better service and they're closer to the customer, and they're most intuitive to them, because it's a simple conversation that everyone trained to have, because everyone uses WhatsApp, everyone uses Telegram or Facebook Messenger or Instagram, right? Because we've been, whole mankind has been trained to use those interfaces and text through it. It's very simple for everyone. On the other side, business gets a lot of a huge gain in efficiency at every stage of customer journey, because at every stage of customer journey we streamline certain communications, very repetitive tasks, and that allows company to have a huge scale. Because if you decide to pour in money into marketing and you have marketing communication streamlined in chatbot, and chatbot can segment the customers, can collect the information, can qualify the leads, can answer the questions, can make a propose a product, propose a service, take the payment. That means you have a leverage and you're able to scale, right? Without that technology, you have to hire people, you have to build, I don't know, whatever, just some kind of technology, some way or manual way to process the load of customers, a load of partners or employees, whatever the process is. Because with AI you can streamline employee onboarding, partnership, partner onboarding, customer onboarding, right? So it's a win-win for both. It's a win for end users and it's a win for the business. But where I'm getting at in this video, I promised to show you how to build API integrations using AI and low code. So the reason it's important for us is because in order to build superior customer experience, conversational customer experience, we constantly need to integrate different systems into the conversation, right? For example, we have a customer company, Rihao, that it's an engineering division that produces the pipes and all the materials that required to build the warm floor, the plumbing, and so on and so on. So Rihao, they have indirect sales approach. They basically build partnerships with the installers, with different companies that work in construction field, and those guys, they recommend Rihao to the end customers. So Rihao have an academy, and they have a process to attract installers, train them, certify them, work with them, host the webinars, provide them information, provide them with tools, provide them with perks. So they all been taken care very well, and they have a lot of support and encouragement to work with the Rihao brand, and they love it. And they, at the end, when they're happy, with Rihao materials and Rihao service, they recommend it to the customers, right? And this is how Rihao makes their money. So in this case, we have a customer journey of typical installer is when first we need to attract them, start building a relationship, and then we have to bring them to webinar. And webinar, it's a separate platform for hosting online events. So we have to integrate the webinar platform right in the chatbot. So when the chatbot says hi to installer and collects the information and books and registers the installer at webinar, we need an API. And then an installer appreciates that, because chatbots collect information, registers at webinar, and then reminds the installer so he or she not misses the day to participate in the event. And then after the webinar, there is a test. There is a whole another software application where they go and pass the test for certification, right? So it's another application, another integration, another API, and then after that, or before that, we need to register installer in the Rehaut database in their portal for installers, for the installing customers. It's like a marketplace where installers meet the end customer. So it's a third system, right? And then also there is installers have to come into the office and pass the practical test. So it's another process, right? And so on and so on and so on, right? And there's a loyalty program, there's a bonus program, right? That when the installers work with the company, they get points, they get rewards, they get money back, all kinds of programs to stimulate the activities, right? That's another separate systems, right? So when you develop chatbot, if it's not a simple chatbot with the content automation, we usually do a lot of integrations. So, and the way we do our projects is well, we have two divisions in our company. First division is a technology division that develops a platform. We've created a MetaBot platform. We called it MetaBot platform. This is a low-code platform for it's communicational and integrational platform that allows to streamline the development of chatbots and integrations. It has the database, it has an API builder, it has the conversational flow builder. So it's like a software for building software, right? And the second division is the actual production company that develops chatbots and integrates them into the business, right? So we built a low-code platform to streamline our own production, because low-code, and we confirmed that with real projects, with real experience, that it allows to streamline and speed up the process like tenfold. We've seen traditional development teams working with us in parallel at some, at our customers' companies. They usually have internal software development team or a hard external team, right? So they develop internal systems, databases, provide us API, and we wrap all that. We wrap chatbot around all of that. We integrate all of that in chatbot. So we go on in tandem, like in parallel, and we develop very often some kind of custom functionality. Like if they don't have something, we build the functionality, right? Or if they have it, they provide us with API, and we see that we're moving like 10 times, 2, 3, 5, 10 times faster, just because low code allows us to write less code, allows us to write faster, allows us to test things faster, less code, less mistakes, less planning, less everything, right? And very, very, very important outcome. We discovered it much later. It was a nice bonus. This is when ChatGPT got big. We started experimenting with it, and we discovered that a low code plus AI plus ChatGPT, the LLM model, allows to develop software applications like 100 times faster, 100 times more efficient, less cost and everything. Why? Because the way ChatGPT works, it's very good at working at a small kind of task, right? That doesn't, it can, ChatGPT, well, not ChatGPT, just all LLM models at the current level of development, they cannot produce you complete software application, right? They're not good at it. You have to walk them through the process. You have to know the process and walk them A, B, C, D, E. In life, like not only in software development, in anything, if you want a successful outcome at whatever, have a strong health, develop software application, have a happy marriage, whatever, just anything. If you want to have a successful result at something, you need successful process, right? How to get there. If you have wrong process, you have wrong result. So if you have the process, then you can use ChatGPT and you can generate pieces of code for our low-code system. And since low-code requires us writing little batches of code, not like entire software, just little pieces here and there, because you have a conversation going, and at a certain moment, okay, we need to pull the data from the webinar. So right here, in this conversation, our designer and architect of the bot goes to our local developers and says, hey, Alex or whoever, we need here to run this API calls and pull the data from there or send the data there, right? So can you write this code? So what we're seeing is that we have students that kind of just starting to learn programming, and they're using ChatGPT to generate that code for themselves, stuff that used to take professional programmer like a couple minutes, maybe hours to write. Back in the days, now our students, our juniors, can go and take our examples of the code, take our documentation of the platform, paste it into ChatGPT, then take the documentation of the another platform, whatever we're using to integrate to, right? Throw that integration there, and then ask ChatGPT, hey, can you write me in the style of MetaBot coding integration with that API, and ChatGPT produced the result, right? So technically, not even non-developers could write code. Of course, they need to be tested. They need to understand the logic, how it flows, and if it doesn't work, they should go to professional and help them write it. But in a lot of simple cases, they don't need anyone. Like, they could come up with the code themselves, as long as you have a very good documentation, very good examples. Not always it's possible, because sometimes writing API integration is not enough. You need the business logic. You need to plan how the program works. You know, at what moment it contacts the external systems, what to calculate, and so on and so on. So it depends. It really depends on the use case. That's why I'm saying sometimes we've seen 5x acceleration, sometimes 10x, sometimes 100 times acceleration, right? It depends on the task, on complexity of the task. Right, but overall it speeds up. The ChatGPT changed the way programming will be done in the future. Instead of writing all the code yourself or copy pasting it from somewhere, now I am thinking what I need to write, and I'm instructing the AI, and it writes for me. So instead of being a writer, like most of developers, like all the developers, all the computer programmers, they used to be writers, coders. They have to code the code. Now we work more like a sculptors. We sit back, watch at the sculptor like an artist, and tell them, hey, chop the block off there, add it here, right? And literally we can use the audio interface to talk to. I don't need to write code anymore, right? Essentially, right? Then of course sometimes you have to step in, open up the hood, and get dirty, right? Just start fixing things. You know, it will not go anywhere. We'll still have to fix things, improve, and we have to build the kind of frameworks, because before you can start applying the automation principles, you have to build a framework. So less skilled developers, or people that not skilled in programming, they kind of stay within a certain framework, and they don't make certain mistakes, because architectures still will be expensive, highly qualified job, because when you build in a bridge, you need to have a good architecture, right? And then you can offload a lot of customizations for that bridge, like you can color it in different colors, right? And it will not affect the structural integrity of the building. The bridge will not collapse. Right, but more than 80% of work could be streamlined with the AI in the software field, and I'll show you the process very soon. But before I do that, I'll show you the research that I discovered and I studied. There's an article. There's an article about scientists that run an experiment. They created AI company. They created a company that develops computer games, and they use ChatGPT 3.5 to create agents representing different roles in that company: CEO, CTO, software tester, software developer, whatever. So they created different roles, and they essentially created an AI company that produces the software applications, right? So remember I said, if you want a successful outcome, you need to know the process, right? You want a successful result, you need a successful process. Success is outcome of the right process. So if you have successful process, you automatically, if you follow through, you'll get successful results. Right, so these guys, they basically created the process and instead of humans used AI agents at certain points. There's a whole white paper, goes in details, you can read it. You just text me, or if you need the link I'll share, or we'll probably post it under the video. So they created this game, Gamoku game. Gamoku, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. So it's a graphical game. Basically, they created ChatDev, the virtual chat powered company that brought all the different agents representing different roles, and they connected them together in the process. How? Through communication, right? Communication are very important in every aspect of our life, because you can produce result, but if you're not communicating it properly to the next guy in the process, in the chain of the next event will not happen, the next person will not be able to deliver their results and pass it over. So any work consists of creating outcome and then communicating that outcome to others so they can produce their outcomes. They take the input and produce the output. So these guys, the scientists, they created the processes, they established communications between the agents, and they're basically, well, what's the result, right? The most exciting part. Let me find the actual results. So look what they did. They say here 86.66% of software was executed flawlessly. Let me break it down what it means. The build this process. At the beginning of the process, you have a task, like you have a specification. Hey, I want to build that tic-tac-toe game or whatever. And at the end, you had code that you can run and execute, right? So they're saying that they streamlined more than 80% of work automatically. More than 80% of work. That's a lot of cost. That's a lot of time. That's a huge time saver. That's huge cost saver. This is huge efficiency. 3/4 of the job, or what? 4/5 of the job is streamlined by AI. Then of course they have to step in. There's 13% of work they have to step in and fix things, improve things. But that's a little. That's like a 20% of work give you 80% of outcome, right? And all that manual work, all that what I call monkey work, that it could be given away to the, you don't have to code anymore, right? AI will code for you all that stuff, that repetitive stuff that you used to need juniors or middle developers, right? You just have to establish right process and have very smart guys to come in and tweak it and fix it, and that's amazing. 80%, and I confirm that with our experience. I'll show you in a second. So 13% of problems that they have to go through, they divided into 2 categories. First 50% of cases was failure was attributed to the token length of the API. That means just the ChatGPT memory was too small. They use 3.5. It's very limited. It's very small. It's not a lot of could be fit in. So they have to kind of cut the whole process into pieces and produce pieces of code, then glue them together, right? It's still, they will be able to fix it, but if they have a much powerful AI that it can produce bigger chunks of code, they will have less mistakes. So that number probably would go from 13, can go less, right? But that's what I was saying in the beginning. This is why AI plus low code is super powerful, because low code does not require you to develop whole app. You just need the pieces of code at the right moment, right? This is why this is a game changer. Another 50% of the software failures was due to external dependency issues. Right. It's just because when you develop an app, you have to they have to use other dependencies, right? Just like when you build a building, you don't build the roads around, the whole infrastructure is already there. So generations of developers build so many tools. This is why we're able to develop so fast. And now essentially the computer itself can develop the code for us. Computer can develop computer programs. This is the breaking point of our human history. And after we will fix all of that little issues, I don't know, it's very interesting what future awaits us when the computer will start building an app and tweaking it and measuring it and adapting the code. When the life changes, they adapt the code for their life, whatever. It's gonna be interesting to watch. Right, so that's results that scientists obtained and they documented. It's very interesting. I recommend reading this paper. There's a lot of interesting conclusions. Now, from the business perspective, that means that 80% of work could be, it's a huge cost saver. And number two, and I think that's more important, is the speed, because the world became so fast that if your feedback loops are are very long, like months and years, you're gonna get behind as a company and you'll be out of business eventually, because other guys are moving faster. So 80% of work would be streamlined. And now let me get to the next phase of this video. Let me actually show you how it works, so you can see it with your own eyes. Okay, I'm back. I had some difficulties with recording, so let me continue. So we discussed about intricacies of software development, the progress that humanity made with all the development, with all the technologies, and I laid out to you the principles of how to develop software code, as well as particular API integrations in modern days, and I showed you the scientific research that shows that more than 80% of software development could be streamlined with AI. Now, let me show you the real example that we use in our daily life, in our workday, in our work. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to develop a chatbot using our MetaBot platform and using ChatGPT AI to help me write code, right? So, you will see how smooth the process becomes once you use low-code platform plus AI. Just pay attention to what I'm doing. Notice how little code will I write as a coder, and you'll see that I'm working mostly working as architect, as designer and architect of the app, not as much as code writer, right? Plus, pay attention to the time. I'll try to do it very fast. We'll see. I hope I'm not gonna get stuck at something little and stupid, as it always happens. You get stuck at something and then you try to overcome the hurdle. I hope the process will go smooth. So we're doing it live, right? I may pause for some things, some boring things like the registration of the website, but let's see. So I'm gonna make a chatbot that makes API calls and pulls some data from a third party, right? So let's start. I need to write a prompt, right? Let me write. Let me copy paste the prompt. I have a prompt somewhere. Okay, here it is. Here's my prompt. I need you to write API for MetaBot platform connecting our chatbot to a third-party service. Here's the documentation piece, how to develop integrations with MetaBot. Remember it, and I will provide API documentation next. So I got this prompt. Now let me go to MetaBot documentation, right? So I just pick the article, lesson that shows how to output the photo picture in the bot using the API integration. So I just copied this article, right? I just selected all. I don't read it. I don't check it out. I don't read it. As a developer, I don't even spend time reading how to develop. Like I should know the principles. I have experience, right? But I'll trust the process. I'll trust the AI will write the right code for me. So let's give it a shot. So here I'm saving myself already, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 30 minutes I don't have to study the documentation. The documentation is for ChatGPT, not for me, right? Alright, so it says, great, let's get started with developing API integration for MetaBot platform based on the provided documentation. It's Unsplash. I don't want pictures, I want a new API, right? So I want a new API integration. How about a weather? Do you? God, my writing is horrible. Do you know? Keep missing the. This is why we need AI. We need the audio interface too. I keep missing the letters. Do you know any free API? Booms. Let's see. Sure. One popular weather API is Open Weather Map. Here we go. Here's the URL. Here's the endpoint. Some instructions. Here instructions for MetaBot platform. It remembers from the documentation. Okay, here's the code. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so looks good to me. I hope it works. Let's see. So I'm just copy pasted. Now I'm going to MetaBot platform, right? Let me create the new bot. Oh, right. Create a new chatbot. Okay, weather API test. Okay. Pick it. Now let's build a script, right? The first script. Well, let's call it start. Okay, here we go. Here it is. So let's open the script and add new comment. Let's add the JavaScript and copy paste the code here. What I'm going to change here in this code is the URL. I gotta copy it from the ChatGPT. Give me this URL, and I'll replace this parameter right here. Here we go. And I also need the API. I like different coding style. I don't want to set up in the settings the key. I need the API key. Add URL and API key to the code. See, I don't like that. It's just for simplicity. I don't like adding the attributes of API headers into the chatbot. I can do it, I can go and do it, but I prefer for this simple example to keep my API key right in the code, which is not the best way to do it, but that's okay. So here you go. What is this? No, I did not understand. Let me rewrite it. I don't like adding URL and API key to the attributes. I prefer it in the code. Can you update the code? Don't write any extra information, just give me the code. ChatGPT is a talker. He's like me. He likes to talk. So you gotta cut some of this stuff off. Alright, looks good. Here we go. I like this code much better. Just for simplicity of the exercise, plus you can see if I don't like something about code, I don't write it myself. I tell my perfect slave to do it for me. ChatGPT, just so you understand, it's like an ideal middle developer. He's super genius. He's a super genius. He can do anything, but he's also dumb as crazy because he cannot think for himself. You have to tell him exactly what you need to do. So he's a perfect employee. That's what I'm saying. He'll give the exact job you tell him to do, as long as you know the process. Right? This I don't need. This I don't need. I needed to ask it in the outside of the code. Here we get the city name. Here's the API key. Now I already registered at openweather.org. Very nice service. I registered and I got the API key right away. Here it is. So I'm just copying it and pasting it. Let's check this code. Looks good. I think looks good. So I'm not making any changes. Only thing I need is to ask user for city name, right? So let me add another comment for user input. Please enter city name. Done. Now let's move this thing up. And now the last piece, try again. I just want to make it in a loop so I can run the same script over and over again if I need to retest it. I hope it works. Let's see. Let's find out. Now a couple more actions and we're done. We have to add the route that will initiate the script when user utters whatever, just anything, and it will launch this script. This is it. We're done with the bot. Now let's add the bot to the channel. Let's add let's add the widget, MetaBot widget with inline buttons, and now let's test it. Here's the moment. This is the moment. I hope it works. I hope this demo goes smooth. Let's see. You see in the right bottom corner there is a chat widget button. I'm clicking it. It asks for the city. Let's see. It's my Orlando. Oh no, what a bummer. What a bummer. Why so? Let's see. Let's check the code. This is okay too, because this will show us how to debug the code. So let me copy and paste it. Why it didn't output? Let me ask ChatGPT. Let him fix it for me. The code worked, but the results showed strange output. No digits, just this text. Why? It looks like the placeholders are not being properly replaced with the actual values from the attribute, right? So that's ChatGPT made mistake. Okay, let's copy paste it, this part. He made the mistake in this line. Maybe we just copy one line. Let's just copy one line, right? But if I would be a developer that doesn't know how to code very well, or would be non-developer, let me just copy the whole thing. Very often it gets it right right away from the start. Sometimes it can cause little mistakes. So it does not replace the developer 100%, but it saves a lot of time. Alright, let's give it a shot. Try again. Orlando. Here we go. Work this time. Weather in Orlando, 25.13 Celsius, clear sky. So, as a summary, how many lines of code did I actually write? None, right? Did I write anything? No. What I actually did is I deleted some lines of code. And that piece of code is it's still kind of complex. You still have to know the syntaxes and structure and have to understand what it all means. You have to study the articles. If you really want to become developer or know how to use Metabot platform or any other low-code platform or any other technology, you have to learn and study. But once you learn it, you can save yourself a lot of time. And if you're just starting up, you can save a lot of time to yourself, and you can get straight to results, to having workable app, workable chatbot without actually studying the code. If you're not non-developer, imagine how cool it is. You can design a chatbot with all the funnels, with all the conversations, all this beautiful flows, and then all of a sudden you need the integration. What's going to happen? You have to hire a developer, find a partner. That's time, that's cost. And now all of a sudden you can use ChatGPT and bunch of documentation, feed all the information to ChatGPT and have it ready. That's what I mean, and that's what when we discussed earlier about how much benefit AI creates in the field of software development and API integration. And as we've seen, going back to this article, these people actually build the software development company. They built whole process, not just one API integration, the entire process from the beginning to the very end, and they got 86% of software executed flawlessly. 13% was associated, half of the 13% of problems was associated with ChatGPT 3.5 not providing enough of code, right? That could be stretched with ChatGPT-O, with having much bigger buffer of information. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was insightful and useful. This was Artem, this is GoChatBot. See you next time.